Hello, I'm Rob McKnight and welcome to this bonus edition of Media McKnight. We're here to cover the radio ratings. Survey 4 dropped today. This survey covers Sunday 27 April to Saturday 5 July 2025. Let's start in Melbourne. This is the story so far. 3AW owns this town overall. It's expected to continue its dominance, and on the FM dial, Gold 104.3 sits at the top. In breakfast, Ross and Russ, they continue to reign supreme, but the battle for number one on the FM dial, well, it takes a few twists and turns. Jason Lauren can sometimes be number one, and then Christian O'Connell can be number one. We'll see what happens. Okay, stop the press, because there's been a huge disruption in Melbourne as we get into the results, with 3AW losing its crown. Gold 104.3 has claimed the top spot with a 12.1% share. That is up 0.3%, while 3AW has found itself in a surprising place, second place, after it lost a 0.6% share for a survey share of 11.9. Now, the station will still be able to crow about its breakfast offering, Ross and Russ, which continued to dominate the slot on a 16.6% share, despite losing 1.5 points. It's steady as she goes in breakfast, though, with Jason Lauren on Nova taking out the top spot on FM again with a 10.8% share. That's an increase of 0.6. That was ahead of the Christian O'Connell show on Gold, which had a 10.1% share. That's a rise of 0.4%. Kyle and Jackie O remained behind the ABC on 5.6, but they did see a rise of 0.3. Let's go to Sydney now, and the story so far is that presenter lineups haven't affected 2GB's dream run. Ben Fordham has been a dominant force in breakfast, while Ray Hadley's replacement, Mark Levy, well, he's held on to the audience in mornings. Despite their problems in Melbourne, Kyle and Jackie O took out the top spot on FM last survey. All eyes will be on that show to see if the Melbourne issues are hurting their Sydney ratings. Let's get to the results. Station-wise, it's pretty much business as usual, with Smooth FM, though, back at the top spot on 12.3%. But 2GB took a big minus 2% share drop to land second on 11.6. Kiss rounded out the top three with a 10.4% share. At breakfast, Ben Fordham remains number one on 14.7% despite a 2% drop. Kyle and Jackie O remain the king and queen of FM on 13.9%, increasing the share for Kiss by 1.4%. In Brisbane, Triple M took out the top spot last survey, but all eyes will be looking out to see what happens at breakfast. Nova's Ash Lutzy and Nikki Osborne had disrupted the market since the addition of the latter, overtaking B105, which has enjoyed numerous surveys as the number one show. Radio watchers will be interested to see what happens at 4BC, where I once worked, after some positive signs in the last survey. Now to the results. Yep. Triple M is still at the top with a 13.3% share, an increase of 0.5%. B105 was relegated to second place on 12.2%. 4BC dropped slightly by 0.7% down to 5.8%, with most shows mostly flat or slightly down, although Drive did see a slight improvement. In breakfast, the magic at Nova with Ash Lutzy and Nikki Osborne has waned a little, with the trio falling back to third place on 12.1%. That's down 1%. They're behind Triple M on 13.2%, a rise of 1.5%, and B105 on 13.1%. This is an ongoing battle which will be fascinating to watch. In Adelaide, Mix has been enjoying its dominating lead while a battle for second place continues between Nova and Triple M. In the last survey, we saw a new winner with Jody and Hazy on Nova, outdoing Rue, Ditz and Loz on Triple M. Now to the results. Mix continues its winning streak with a 13.5% share despite a drop of 0.9%. Triple M is sitting on 13.1%. That's an increase of 1.5%. It saw a big improvement, but it wasn't enough to get them into the top spot. Rue, Ditz and Loz on Triple M have reclaimed the number one breakfast crown with a 14.2% share. That was an increase of 0.6%. While Jody and Hazy on Nova had to settle for second place with a 12.4% share after dropping 1.4%. And finally to Perth, 96 FM had become the new number one last survey, swapping places with Nova, which dropped minus 2.1%. In breakfast, Nova's Nathan, Nat and Sean were unstoppable with a dominating 19.5% share. Now to the results. And the changes keep coming in Perth, with Nova dropping to third place on 12.3%. That was down another minus 2.6%. 96 FM stayed at the top of the poll on 14.8%, but was down a massive minus 2.3%. Mix was second on 12.4%. Nova's Nathan, Nat and Sean took a huge hit in breakfast, dropping minus 4%, but still held on to the number one spot with a 15.5% share. Triple M rose plus 3.4% for a 13.4% share, and 96 FM had a 13% share, minus 1.8%. So was this a survey correction? We'll have to wait until Survey 5 on September 5 to find out. All right, that brings us to the end of this special bonus edition. Another episode of Media McKnight will be available tonight at 9 p.m, covering other media stories from the week. Just go to youtube.com/McKnight tonight or at McKnight tonight even at 9 p.m. to watch. I'm Rob McKnight. I hope to see you then. And tomorrow night, don't forget, another episode of McKnight Tonight. We will not stop. Just go to youtube.com/@McKnight tonight. Hope to see you soon.